Mm. Hello, my loves. How are you? Welcome to this lovely Wednesday night edition of See Like Sheba. How do you like this intro where I just start? No, starting soon. Um, we'll see how it turns out, but I kind of like it. I want to just jump right in. So this 47th episode of my podcast, but I guess this is maybe the fifth episode of See Like Sheba, is called Ladies, Stop Coddling Unreasonable Men. Yeah, I just had to get on and talk about. I've been thinking recently, been doing a lot of, healing work, self development things. And today I was kind of grappling with the idea of shame or fear of being perceived as unrealistic, my dreams kind of. I have heard a lot kind of like, calm down, it's not that serious, like, okay, like, people like wanting me to be realistic, also people wanting me to be like reasonable. I've heard like, so like with my family, over the past year and a half, my mom and sister, they're very much like, come on, be reasonable, like realistically, like the men are not going to change, so I have to be reasonable, and they're mad that I'm not being reasonable. Also at my work, I've been dealing with, one of my, everyone at work, but like our supervisors, kind of just going on as if everything is normal, as if there's not a horrific genocide and ethnic cleansing going on, as if we don't work for the government that is doing this horrific atrocity and lying about it. And I'm just like, hey, we gotta like do something. And I instead, what we're doing is just like letting, my boss, this guy Tom, he like has these like made up meetings, and we have to just pretend everything's fine, talk about baseball, talk about Bridgerton. And I'm like, why aren't we talking about like the horrific genocide and all the fascism and all of like the children being disappeared, and what's happening right now? So yeah, it got me thinking about and I've certainly talked on this before, and I will talk again, I'm sure, about how crazy my dang father was growing up. And I was thinking today about how my father was so unreasonable, so much of the time. Like, you kind of never knew what was going to set him off. He was very, he was autistic, so he was very like particular about a lot of things, and would just like yell at us, and like kind of us kids, we had to just like take it. And I knew that because my mother would just like, if our father was like yelling, she would just kind of like, we would just have to like wait it out, kind of. And like, kind of, if sometimes he would be like, demand an answer to a question that he asked. And my mom would just, she would say something, and you're right, yeah, and just try to, yeah, wait it out. And so it got me thinking about how, my dad would be crazy and my mom would like stoically endure it, and reply, do kind of whatever she needed to like ride it out till he calmed down and we could all go on with our days. And I realized like, that's kind of what we accept unreasonable men. Like, we're taught that we're supposed to just, whatever a man wants to do, however they want to handle it, however they want to respond, we're all supposed to just kind of choose our battles and make the best of it and just kind of accommodate him rather than being like, no, that's unacceptable. Don't do that. So yeah, like with my dad, rather than be reasonable and be like, hey, you're an adult man, Milton. You have a bachelor's degree in psychology and a master's in counseling. Go to therapy and learn how to process your emotions without taking it out on children. That would have been the reasonable thing, actually. But instead, she just like let him like rant and be crazy and like, and now my brother-in-law, like he's allowed to be unreasonable because I'm like, yo, it's like not okay for adults to just like not care about children, to not care about children being murdered and to stay silent as other adult men are doing bad things. It's not okay. And it's not okay if I call you on that. It's not okay for you to falsely accuse me of harming your children. Right? And so this applies to both my brother-in-law and to Tom. But like, yeah, so my brother-in-law does all these things. And like this whole past year and a half, everyone has been expecting me to be reasonable and to, I'm being so unreasonable by not just accepting his not good treatment of me. Everyone just expects me to like go back and like hang out with everyone, just, accept that like, my brother-in-law is not going to change. So I just have to kind of accept it and deal with it, endure, rather than be reasonable and be like, no, like he's in the wrong. Like, why are we listening to how my brother-in-law thinks to do things? Like, no offense, but yeah, he does have a high school degree. He's like not that smart. Like, why are we following him? Like, I'm the lawyer. Like, I'm extra good at what the reasonable action is. And so why is everyone acting like I'm the unreasonable one? Okay. But instead, rather than being reasonable and being like, hey, listen to the smart person, listen to the leader. Everyone's just like, whatever brother-in-law wants to do, like he's allowed to, that's just who he is. And so you have to just accept, this not good treatment. Tom, my supervisor at work, a second line supervisor. I don't know who this man is. I don't really know what his job is. I think it's just to create his last name is like babysitter, actually. It's kind of like Tom Babysitter. And his job is to hold these meetings where we just like small talk. We just talk about baseball and preparing kids for sports and lighthearted little things. And I'm like, why aren't we talking about all of the children being murdered? Like, and the, American children being dragged off campus and disappeared. And why aren't we talking about that? We're a bunch of lawyers. This is the government's money. This is the people's money. Why are a bunch of lawyers talking about inappropriate things? That's unreasonable. But what does everyone do? Everyone takes the unreasonable man side rather than, everyone like allows him to be unreasonable and have these little bullshit made up performance meetings, and falsely accuse me of threatening his children. When I point out, I'm like, hey, it's inappropriate that you're not talking about other people's children. That's really racist and not okay. They turn around and try to say I'm the one who's being unreasonable. And then, yeah, we have Biden, Trump, Netanyahu, Musk. They all act so unreasonably. And everyone just like expects us all to accept and comply with and adapt to their unreasonableness rather than just like ignore it. Be like, no, you're crazy. I'm not going to do that. And just like do differently. But like when it comes to me, acting reasonably in all of these situations, everyone's like, explain yourself. Why are you acting so unreasonable? Who do you think you are acting so unreasonable? How dare you expect us to adapt to your unreasonableness, Sheba? And I'm like, wait a minute. I thought what we do is allow people to be unreasonable and we just adapt to it and like, okay, we'll just go along with it. We don't have to like it, but we do have to go along with it. And so like, guys, like, why are we going along with like just whatever unreasonable men want to do? Why are we like, when we see a woman being reasonable, why is our first inclination to be like, oh, come on. Oh, what are you going to do? Be reasonable? Oh, come on. It's unreasonable for you to be reasonable, Sheba. It's reasonable for us to allow these men to be unreasonable and just do whatever these unreasonable men say. So Elon Musk sends you an email at work saying, tell me what you did last week. Tell me 5 things that you did last week. Tell it to me every week in an email and CC your supervisor. What do you guys do? You comply with an unreasonable man's request. Why? He just wanted to see if you were going to do it. And you did. That was dumb. Should just ignore it, right? That's the reasonable thing to do. Why are you guys getting in the habit of just complying with things you don't understand and don't agree with? You just accepted that, hey, a man said it, so I don't have to like it, but I am going to comply and not question it. And I'm going to make sure other people who are questioning it stop. A man's being unreasonable, okay? A man has a right to be unreasonable, and we are all supposed to follow him and coddle his delusion. No. So anyway, we're not doing that anymore. I titled this, Ladies, Stop Coddling Unreasonable Men, because in each of these examples, in 2 of them, my mother was there coddling, allowing, adapting, accommodating, apologizing for an unreasonable man's behavior. Rather than demanding that he act reasonably, she says, like, we all have to just like accommodate the unreasonable man. Both with my father and my brother-in-law, and my brother on some, levels. And my sister also is just like, oh, come on. Like, we have to make peace, right? Like, we have to like be reasonable, right? And like, the men are not going to apologize. They're not going to do this. They're not going to do what they don't want to do. So we got to just adapt. And like, I don't think that makes sense, actually. No, it doesn't make sense. It's unreasonable. And so I'm not going to do it. And then with the guy at work, Tom, after I'm like, yo, it's really inappropriate that you are ignoring what's going on in the world at large. And like, it seems like you're distracting us away. You're actively distracting us away from like the screams of children. And that's inappropriate. And yeah, he turned around and ended the meeting early and then falsely accused me of threatening to harm his children. These white men, these men, fucking audacity. But you know who ran the little sham tribunal investigation to see whether or not I did that, to investigate Tom's false claims? Women, white women, but women carried out his stupid, unreasonable bidding. Tom feels bad because I was reasonable. I was demanding that, like, no, you act reasonably, Tom. You're an adult. You get paid the big bucks. So act reasonably. Use your power appropriately. And the women were like, no, that was impolite. Why did you raise your voice? He said he didn't, he asked you to change the topic. Why didn't you change the topic? Are you kidding me? Is your guys' plan really to just comply and adapt to unreasonable men? Netanyahu's just gonna run a train through the Middle East and Europe and the US and the whole world. And we're all just gonna, oh, but what can we do? You guys have really just accepted the superiority of men, the superiority of white men. You really will let them act however you want. And Black people, we've accepted this trickle down, superiority of men. However the men want to do it, we're supposed to just adapt to it. So we have a bunch of abandoned children, a bunch of traumatized children, a bunch of confused, traumatized, abandoned, beaten women and children. And everyone thinks that's just how it's going to be. The men are not going to change. So let's just keep, Billy was telling me about, showed me that Erykah Badu was recently asked, what advice would she give for young women in the music industry? And she said, suck dick hard. And, Billy and I were talking about why did she say that? And I think we've all accepted that whatever men want to do, however they want to act, that's how it's going to be. And they're the gatekeepers. They will always hold the power. Resistance is futile. So we might as well just go along with it. They're not going to just accept us on our merit. So if they say we have to give them sexual favors in order to succeed in this industry, might as well get good at doing sexual favors, because we're not going to demand that men be reasonable. That we won't do. So I feel like the older the generation, the more attached they are to this hierarchy and this they're resigned to this is how men are, this is how it's going to be, and so we just have to, it's better than it used to be, right? And we've done so much more, and it's worse in other places, so we have to this is not good enough, babes. Stop accepting this unacceptable, unreasonable behavior from men. I'm talking to ladies, because I think we have allowed ourselves to be gaslit. We just have to go along. No, we don't. We absolutely don't, and we should not. And I will not. And I'm only, coming more and more into my power, and I'm going to be able to articulate this increasingly well. But yeah, I'm not doing it. I'm not the one. It ain't me, babe. I'm not doing that. And it's holding our species back, frankly. Because rather than just doing the reasonable thing, we're all using all of our energy carrying out the unreasonable bidding of a bunch of men. And that's not going to work. That's not keeping us safe. It's not keeping the children safe. It's not keeping men safe. It's not keeping the planet safe. So get it together, my loves. Get it together, okay? Because yeah, it's really embarrassing. It's really embarrassing. And yeah, it's crazy to me that you guys expect me to just go along. To just accept men being unacceptable and unreasonable. And that's realistic to you. That I, Sheba, would be like, oh, you're right. Okay. All right. The men win. Let me just go along with what do they want me to do? Okay. No. Oh my God. So, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, literally just the gentlemen, stop coddling these other men. Okay? If they're being unreasonable, call them on it. Treat them like you would treat me when I'm being reasonable. If I say the reasonable thing, what would you do? You would, hey, just do that to unreasonable men. When they start saying, going on their bullshit, doing their terrible reaction to something, doing the wrong thing, start, hey, I see what you're, hey, start gentle parenting them, okay? Start like, hey, actually, that's unreasonable. That's unacceptable. That's not the right thing to do. That's not okay. Why did you raise your voice? You can literally just take the things that you say to me, a reasonable woman, when I do the reasonable thing, and apply that to a man being unreasonable. If we all do that, if we all commit to doing that, all the women commit to doing that, all the men commit to doing that, just doing that little simple switch of how we treat people we have deemed unreasonable, we'll see a lot of changes. Yeah. So anyway, that's all I wanted to say. I'm gonna I like doing the forehead kiss because I know we all need love. And on the one hand, I'm like, do you guys deserve a kiss? Do you deserve a kiss from me, Sheba? Such a powerful lover. You guys wouldn't even know what to do with it. Just explode your freaking brain. So used to this subpar, bare minimum love. You don't even know what to do with a love like mine. But that's okay. Y'all know not what you do, so I will be merciful because I know more love is the answer somehow. So anyway, bring your forehead up. Put it on your screen. I love you. Annoyed with you. Worried about you guys. But I do love you. And I believe in you. But you got to remember that this is all made up. This is all made up. And what is what we accept. It's what we agree to. It's what we believe is possible. So what we're seeing right now is what we've accepted. There's Billy's boss has this idea that this is kind of what is, and this is yeah, you got to be careful. This is the white guys are being crazy, and so now they can do whatever they want. And I'm like, okay, but so can we. So can we. Why are we limiting our imagination to what like men think is possible? Can't do it. Can't do it. This is the world. Like, we know what the limits of men's imagination gets us. This slavery and domination and exploitation and sadness everywhere. Okay? So maybe let's stop. No. Let's stop. Definitely, certainly, absolutely, let us stop coddling unreasonable men. Right? Okay. I think that's all I want to say. No? That's all I want to say. All right. Love you guys. This is all made up. So do you see like Sheba? If anyone has any ideas about taglines, how to segue it, I want it to be so cute and perfect. It will be. It is. So anyway, something. See like Sheba. See you guys later. Okay, now you get the end screen. That'll be it. You get to see Billy's great graphics. All right. Where is it? Here it is. Love you guys.